Mortal Kombat 1 is finding itself in a very unique position, and that is possibly because of the fact that it is getting sandwiched between great releases. And by these great releases, I'm talking about Street Fighter 6 before it and now Tekken 8 after it. And a matter of fact, if you don't really want to even get into rating how Tekken 8 will be as opposed to Mortal Kombat 1, then you can successfully still complete that sandwich by putting Grand Blue versus Rising on the other end, where Tekken is eventually going to take its quote-unquote rightful spot. You see, I didn't want to talk about Mortal Kombat until something great happened. And something did happen. Something that I wanted to happen actually happened. It was this. What I really want them to do is, remember when Liu Kang had on that hood from the chapter, from the Lin Kuei introduction chapter? That's the skin I want. Put a hood on Liu Kang. That's all I want. And before you knew it, they added the Liu Kang skin. And that's why Mortal Kombat 1 is the best fighting game out right now. No, I wish it was that simple. I really do wish that a simple skin could just fix the game. But there's a bigger glaring issue facing Mortal Kombat, according to many people on social platforms. Now, I thought at first it was just a Twitter, echo chamber going on with all these players talking about the fact that Mortal Kombat 1 is dying and they don't want to see the rest of the game because they're about to quit anyways. They don't like it. NRS bad. Ed Boon bad, Warner Bros bad, everybody bad. They ruined MK. Let's go to Tekken 8 because that's gonna be objectively the best game. Yada yada yada. That's the case. I just thought that was just Twitter, but then eventually it kept on leaking. I saw it on YouTube. I saw it on Reddit. I saw it on all these threads randomly. At one point, my feed was just MK complaints, and I'm thinking to myself, what is happening in the game that could be this crazy? Now, first things first, the online is an absolute wreck at this point. Even when it works, it doesn't work well. The matches are extremely laggy. You're always getting that caution sign popping up telling you that basically your Wi-Fi or your wired connection, wire to wire, Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi, whatever it is that you're connecting with, it's about to crash and potentially desync the game. The desync issue has existed in Mortal Kombat for over a month. No, it's a very egregious issue that keeps happening. Recently, Sikander, famous Sub-Zero streamer, discovered a bug with the overhead not being able to hit a low frozen Tanya. What did the FGC community or the NRS community do? They told Sikander it's a skill issue. So this is a glaring bug in the game. Possibly has not been fixed. Who knows? But they, instead of coming together to say, yo, NRS, look at this. Yo, whoever it is that needs to look at this. They're coming down to bash a player who has discovered something that is potentially game-breaking. A matter of fact, with Chameleon's addition to the game just now, Smoke already has a bug with her where you could basically become invisible for the whole match and, just be a menace. On the game. This is a real thing happening. So these issues, these glaring issues keep popping up in MK, and honestly it's getting a lot of people to discuss whether or not Mortal Kombat is on its deathbed, whether we're witnessing the death of Mortal Kombat, whether or not this is it. NRS pack it up and bury the MK franchise. Now let me tell you something. A couple of weeks after Mortal Kombat released, or roughly a month, I'll give it a month, Street Fighter 6 community went crazy. They essentially went on the same tirade. The game is dead, there's nothing new, nobody's playing, Capcom doesn't care, they're not adding in any new costumes. Look at the fact that Capcom is not even trying to advertise CPT well, and then there's the case where Capcom is not, they've got all these weird pricing strategies, they only care about the casuals, they only care about the avatar battles. Street Fighter 6 is dead. That was just a long topic. For weeks on end, I was just seeing Street Fighter 6 is dead. It's gone. That was the main discussion. So when I see this happen in Mortal Kombat, I just have to laugh because I don't think it's dying, guys. I don't think it's crazy to say that it's not in the best life of it right now. It's not on its best leg, you could argue. There are some people who are literally saying, yo, I want to play Mortal Kombat. I cannot play Mortal Kombat due to the fact that there's The desync issue is crazy. I can't even connect with matches. This keeps happening. Yada yada yada. These are legitimate complaints. When I see somebody get online and they're like, "Oh, this character is fundamentally busted, and I have no respect for anybody who plays this character because definitely you are the scum of the earth." When I see these complaints, I'm like, all right, that's a skill issue complaint. That's just somebody being salty. That's just somebody who could possibly hit up practice mode instead of posting it on Twitter that we out chat and we labbing. You could actually get into the practice mode and work on things that actually need to be improved in order for you to stop running into these problems online. When I see these posts, I dismiss it. But when I see posts that are actually highlighting the issues of the lag, highlighting the issues of the fact that the desync issue is still here, highlighting the fact that certain characters' moves don't work as they're supposed to move, or certain character combinations do things that are not supposed to be in the game, then I can deduce that yes, we have a problem. Is MK dying? Far from it. In fact, I think what happens is that some people overestimate the amount of people who they're talking to on Twitter. I mean, if you are only, reaching a crazy audience of like 20K and your tweets are doing like 1K and everybody's like, yeah, MK is definitely dead. I mean, I think MK has already sold 5 million. You do the math of 1,000 people over 5 million and check the relevancy of how much people are in agreement that the game is not good. I don't think queue times have been ramped up in terms of the wait time. I definitely think the Wi-Fi filter was something that wasn't implemented well because one, it's not really a Wi-Fi filter. It's more so as you could reject connections. You actually should get the ability to say, okay, I don't want to connect with these people who are under this, or I don't want to connect with people who are under this amount of connection available to them. That's definitely what we need, not just this reject or accept, because you could potentially just sit down there rejecting people who have bad ping and Wi-Fi for a long time, and that could affect your queue time and you feel bad about it. But to say that the game is dying, obviously these are just people overreacting. Now if people are going to come over to Tekken 8, hey, good job. Welcome to Tekken 8. This is a channel where we talk about Tekken. So welcome. If you want to make that transition from MK to Tekken, then hopefully I can help you with that transition with beginner videos and my Tekken training arc. But what happens is the fact that, look, I think we've got to calm down a bit within the NRS community. A lot of people are still complaining about crossplay. That's coming next month. I don't want the crossplay to come across and the connection is this bad. That's one thing that I have. I think that's a glaring concern. So definitely NRS does need to work on those desync issues and the online issues. But in terms of the game dying right before us, far from it. They recently just had a sale over the Christmas, so there's a lot of fresh new blood on Mortal Kombat, more than you would know, more than you would think. And on top of that, when people say a game is dying, where's the stats? This is usually coming from somebody whose enjoyment of the game that has severely decreased. They don't enjoy the game much anymore. They don't like it. They don't appreciate what the game has to offer. So to them, it's just like, yeah, the game is dead because I'm telling you the game is dead. But looking at the statistics, nah. Somebody will possibly pull up the stream numbers. They would go on Twitch and tell you, oh, the game is clearly dead because look at the Twitch numbers. But maybe there's not anybody interesting streaming Mortal Kombat at the time. Maybe MK creators are not all that entertaining. But I see YouTube streams of MK all the time, pulling decent numbers. And, I don't really want to sit down and watch MK like that. But I think there are people, if you give support to them, then they can definitely cook with their streams. But on top of that, I think it is a case where, look at Street Fighter 6, just going back to that Street Fighter 6 point. Everyone was saying Street Fighter 6 is dead, it's over, the game doesn't have anything, yada, yada, yada. And they just recently announced that they hit 3 million players. At the time everybody started to cry for Street Fighter 6 being dead, it was only announced at 2 million players. I think at that time you could possibly roughly guesstimate 2.3 million players or at the time, but it has then experienced that level of growth, and it's a game that is continuing to show up not only new interesting things happening within the Capcom Pro Tour, you've got these crazy upsets happening, but on top of that, it still has the potential to grow with the amount of collaborations that Street Fighter 6 probably has planned and the amount of things that they are able to give to their audience in terms of content. MK has dropped the ball in terms of content, arguably. Invasions isn't that fun sometimes from season to season. It could have some interesting gimmicks, but not really that much to be like, yo, this needs an award for the amount it has changed. You play one Invasions, you kind of play them all. It's just a kind of long grind fest that you hop on to do. I don't recommend you do it in one sitting. Take your time and do Invasions. And then on top of that, the best aspect of MK1 is arguably its gameplay. I don't have a problem with the cameo system. In fact, I think the cameo system allows you to try and amplify certain playstyles that you as a player like, whether or not you like to, you're not really a risk taker, so you play safe, or you're not really somebody who is about approaching, so you have cameos that kind of keep that distance between you and allow you to basically damage from a distance. I see why that suffers due to the online. That definitely suffers. So basically, the greatest aspect of MK cannot shine due to very bad connection. And on top of that, we've got a very minor aspect that it becomes large because at the end of the day, you know, it's a way to funnel that kind of hype behind Mortal Kombat, is the fact that the professionals of the game are, when you're looking at what MK is looking to pay out, especially being that it's coming officially from NRS, it's not that too encouraging for players to go pro or even bother with playing MK on that level. So I think in comparison to other fighting games, it seems like it's a much better investment if you go down another route except for the NRS route. So that's something that I think people have been pushing back. In fact, Combo Breaker, which is MK1's usually a very large tournament for MK1, unable to break through into the top 8 in its first year. A matter of fact, not even its first year, in its first set of months of existence, not getting that amount of registration to be looked at as one of the top 8 games of Combo Breaker is a bit concerning. But to say the least, I think there's still a lot of value that maybe new players can reap from Mortal Kombat. And on top of that, even people who already just love the series, who play the game, perhaps just take a step back and come back, and then we could see that game with some fresh eyes. But NRS, please listen to the community that makes sense, the community that discovers the bugs, the community that's out here discovering certain things that are breaking the game, and the community that is, you know, suffering because of bad online connection. We could ignore balance for now. We could ignore that for now. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes it's a bit egregious and it breaks the game. Those things, yeah, touch upon that. But for now, there's a lot more stability issues that need to be fixed. Wi-Fi filter really needs to come in and overall make the best aspect of the game be a bit more smooth. But guys, that's all I wanted to talk to you today on. You know, the issues in Mortal Kombat 1 still persistent, still a great game in my opinion, still a game worthy of picking up and playing. And I hope you guys, if you haven't already, maybe you should try out MK. Looks like it's gonna get a lot more sales in the future depending on how things go with it. And of course, I will see you guys in the next video, but until then, stay game.